Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, cold temperatures continue. I'll tell you more on what to expect for the weekend.
Plus, we're live at the Streetery to detail the millions of dollars Gainesville commissioners just approved to revamp parts of downtown.
And a pause in the year-round plan at a local elementary school. How they plan to involve parents and guardians in any future decision-making. First at 5 starts now.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
We're in store for another cool night, but the UF weather team is tracking how soon the warmer weather could return. Officials say Grace Marketplace and St. Francis House shelters will stay open until Saturday as long as overnight temperatures remain under 45 degrees. This is WUFT's First at 5. I'm Roches.
And I'm Nicole Borman. Families and children are asked to go to St. Francis House while individual adults can go to Grace Marketplace. We're now joined by UF forecaster Matthew Clark live in the weather studio. Matthew, tell us when we can start to expect warmer temperatures.
Well, those warmer temperatures aren't going to be tomorrow morning. We don't have a freeze warning tomorrow, but we do have a frost advisory for some counties. Union, Bradford, and Suwannee County under that frost advisory tomorrow morning. So could be waking up to some frost in that area. Not going to be sub-freezing temperatures tomorrow morning, but it is still going to be pretty chilly. It's still pretty chilly right now. 53 degrees right now. Crystal clear blue skies, though, getting some winds from the north. Pretty windy out there as well, keeping us even cooler right now. Temperatures, the rest of our area, 56 in Ocala, 52 in Lake City, and 52 up in Live Oak. So pretty chilly evening, and then tomorrow morning waking up, those temperatures are going to be in the low 30s, 36 here. And we're tracking another system that's moving our way as we head into the weekend. Could bring us some rain. I'll have that in a few minutes.
Oakview Middle is Newberry was put on lockdown earlier today after Alachua County deputies received a call about an armed person. Deputies arrived at the school, was able to take the person into custody. They say the person was not armed and never made it onto campus.
A Marion County man is in jail, charged with sexually abusing children. MCSO took Geraldo Rivera Serrano into custody on 6 counts of abuse for a child younger than 12 and one older than 12. The investigation started earlier this month when the victims alerted deputies of the abuse by Rivera Serrano. They say it was long-term. Deputies say they confronted him about the crimes where he admitted to the abuse. He was then arrested and taken to jail.
Improvement plans for Gainesville's downtown area are moving forward. WUFT's Emily Drelick is live downtown. Emily, the City Commission just solidified funding for the Streetery's expansion.
Yes, discussions have been underway for this area of Southwest First Avenue for over 4 years now, but we are seeing some movement. The commission just gave the go-ahead for a $3.2 million budget for a final design for the Streetery. The commission settled on a design with brick pavers, which increases the total cost of the design by about $500,000. Funding for the project is mainly coming from the Gainesville Community Reinvestment Fund. Additional funding will come from the Tree Mitigation Fund and gas tax. Mayor Harvey Ward says the Streetery budget isn't tied to the city's general fund.
As we go into budget season and start having discussions about the overall general fund, this will not be impacted by any of that.
Now that the design is approved, engineers and designers will bring plans and costs back to the commission in the coming months. Many questions about the Streetery are still left unanswered, like if the area will feature food trucks and festivals. The mayor says they will continue programming discussions into 2026. The City Commission hopes contractors will break ground on the Streetery later this year. Live from downtown Gainesville, Emily Drelick, WUFT News.
Median citations are being enforced by Gainesville police. After a few dozen citations in 2024, GPD is carrying out the city ordinance prohibiting standing in the median. And a few Gainesville road closures are ahead that may impact your daily commute. Northwest 1st Street northbound will remain a one-way street until March 18th, and Southwest 16th Avenue northbound will be closed from Monday to Friday of next week.
As part of the Rawlings Elementary School turnaround plan, the School Board of Alachua County approved a new calendar in April. Board members are reevaluating the decision. WUFT's Jada Ross is live in the studio on what went into this decision and the impact it could have on students and staff.
Marjorie K. Rawlings Elementary School began using a year-round calendar for the 2024-2025 school year. The state approved the plan, and now, not even a year in, the school board may want out.
At the most recent school board of Alachua County meeting, the board unanimously decided to pause discussion on the Rawlings Elementary School year-round school plan until March. The district committed to a 4-year plan with the state. School board chair member Thomas Vu says the program has not shown success in the pilot phase and that it neglects to consider increased costs and community impact.
We did a terrible job at informing families that this year-round school was happening. We didn't get any type of input or engagement from the families or from the teachers and staff at Rawlings.
Vu noted enrollment dropped by 108 students, or 25%. Lynette Walker, a community member and education advocate, says the feedback she's heard about the decision has been mostly negative.
With Rawlings Elementary, I know it's kind of a defeat with most of my family because they're in school when the others are out.
However, chair member Lynetta McNeely thinks it's too soon to consider a withdrawal.
I've never seen us have a program and we don't look at the end of the year, and we're talking about this already.
March 11th, the board will bring the topic back up for discussion.
Before making any drastic changes, the board agreed to survey parents and staff. It will also work to determine if there will be any consequences from the state for pulling out of the plan. Live in the studio, Jada Ross, WUFT News.
And in Marion County, the public school system is hiring teachers for the upcoming school year. MCPS is looking for teachers at every grade level. They will hold a virtual hiring fair next Friday, February 28th, from noon to 5 p.m.
Conservative activist Charlie Kirk is coming to UF for his American Comeback Tour. Kirk became an online personality after his Prove Me Wrong viral videos, where he debates individuals with opposing political views. He is also the founder and president of Turning Point USA, a conservative youth activism organization. Kirk will be on the UF campus next Thursday at the Plaza of the Americas, starting at noon.
The proposed Florida Senate Bill 94 originally prohibited the sale of firearms to people under 21 years old. Now House Bill 759 has been proposed to do just the opposite of what this bill was intended for, allowing guns to be sold to people at the age of 18. It is still under review by the Senate, so it is not yet a law. But this could be a major change in gun laws for Florida. And also, Governor Ron DeSantis has vetoed Bill 2B, also known as the Trump Act. We first told you about the immigration bill last week. This bill would have worked to protect from unlawful migration policies. But as the governor promised, he vetoed it.
Florida port leaders are asking lawmakers for funds to improve transportation caused by supply chain problems. Port officials went to a House subcommittee this week emphasizing their need for improvements to prevent future supply chain issues. Officials say it isn't just about deeper channels for larger ships and upgraded dockside operations. Other needs include more rail and road improvements. Florida Ports Council president says this will impact all Floridians.
That investment from the state has improved the supply chain in Florida. And it's just, if you are a Floridian, your life is impacted every day by a Florida seaport.
Rubin also says even if you're living in Central Florida, you have benefited from investment in that seaport by the state and local community. Lawmakers are set to begin the 2025 legislative session on March 4th.
Marion County residents watch out for blue-green algae around the Lake Weir Hope Boat Ramp and Weir Hampton Beach. This algae can produce toxins. Officials are testing water samples, but advise you to not drink or swim and avoid any contact with the water. And if you do, to wash your skin and clothes with soap. The Gainesville Cemetery's new app can help you find your loved one's grave. The Evergreen Cemetery is a 56-acre property where around 13,000 have been laid to rest. The 7-year project to create the app comes after 169 years of the cemetery's history. Evergreen Cemetery Coordinator Karen Pruss says that they've spent this time digitizing all of their records.
So if you say, "Where is my Uncle Joe buried?" you can tap it into this app and it will give you a map, just like Google Maps, and it will walk you right to Uncle Joe's grave.
The app uses a GPS system to pinpoint a grave's exact location. It is set to be tested on Sunday. Coming up next, cyber toll security and how to stay safe.
And more on breast milk donations. Updates on a story we brought to you last week when First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
If you got a text about paying your tolls, take a second look. Scam texts about toll payments are targeting Gainesville residents. If you got a message saying you still need to pay a toll within 12 hours, double check before clicking on a link. It could be a scammer trying to steal your information or money. Multiple people say they've received text and telling them with urgency that they need to pay their tolls. But GPD Program Coordinator Byron Lewis says the Central Florida Expressway Authority will never request payment via text.
You can always call the Gainesville Police Department. We have a unit here to deal with fraud as well. So you can always call your local agency if you feel like your information has been compromised via electronic fraud.
GPD recommends avoiding clicking the link, report, and delete the text. And if you have already clicked the link, call your financial institution to make sure your credit card isn't hacked.
We told you last week about a local Mother's Milk Bank program partnering with HCA North Florida. Well, they received their first donation this week. Grace Kennedy donated a generous amount of 4 bags of frozen breast milk to the program on Tuesday. Kennedy's now 1-year-old son spent 60 days in the HCA NICU last year where he received donor milk in his treatment. After her experience, she noticed the need and decided to donate herself. But you too can donate if you're a healthy woman with a surplus of milk for your own child. If you're interested in donating, call the Mother's Milk Bank of Florida for a telephone interview, complete a health questionnaire, and complete a blood screening. You can drop off frozen breast milk at the HCA Florida North Florida Hospital in the location on your screen. They're open for donations from Wednesdays to Fridays.
If you're looking for something to do with the family tonight, look no further than the Friday Foodie Fest at Lake Lillian in Bellevue. The event starts at 5 p.m. and goes until 9 p.m. Families can look forward to seeing new and returning food trucks, such as Fat Tiki and Backstage Grill and concessions. Explore over 25 local vendors at the marketplace and enjoy free inflatable activities and face painting for kids.
It's going to be another chilly night here in Gainesville, but a system off the coast of Texas is going to start to warm us up as we head into next week. It could bring us some showers. I'll have that next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Well, guys, after checking the weather this morning, I had to throw on a long sleeves for today's broadcast.
Well, clearly I didn't because, look at me. I saw my window and I saw the sun and I thought, oh yeah, it's gonna be warm.
It's deceiving.
Clearly wasn't.
Well, Nicole and I got the memo. But yeah, it's been sunny outside all day, but it has been very cold today, and it was even colder this morning. And not just for us, it was cold for the rest of the nation from this Arctic blast that brought in a ton of polar air all the way deep down south, and it has brought widespread cold temperatures down into the Midwest and all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico towards New Orleans. This morning, though, those low temps were brutally cold. Look at that, 7 degrees in Missouri, 5 degrees in St. Louis, and 3 degrees in Wichita, Kansas. And it was cold down here as well. We were seeing 30s in Jacksonville and in North Florida. It's been chilly. Now, tomorrow morning, it's not going to be as cold, but it is still going to be cold for a lot of the nation. Look at those low temperatures, 4 degrees in Minneapolis, but it's going to start to warm up as we head into tomorrow afternoon. Look at that, getting into the 60s here in North Florida, and then the 40s for some parts of the Midwest. So we are going to start to warm up as we head into this weekend and into parts of next week. Bringing it back closer to home here on our campus cam, though, crystal clear blue skies. It has been a gorgeous day. It's a perfect start to our weekend. 53 degrees right now, against some winds from the north. It is pretty chilly, so if you are going to that baseball game tonight, you're going to need to start off with one batting glove because it's going to be in the low 50s. Then by the 7th inning stretch, you're going to need to have double batting gloves because look at that, 40 degrees. And by the end of the game, it's going to be mostly clear, but it's going to be back in the 30s tonight, and we're going to be waking up again. And so frost advisory for parts of Union, Bradford, and Suwannee County. Could be waking up to some frost tomorrow morning up there because of those cold temperatures tomorrow. Now, as we head into tomorrow morning, again, those temperatures are going to be cold, not quite freezing, but in the 30s. 36 waking up tomorrow morning, 34 up in Lake City. But we are going to warm up quite nicely to 68 here in Gainesville, and then even see some 70s in Ocala and Marion County in the Villages. another system is going to head our way, a part of an upper level system that's going to start to form east of Texas, and it's going to develop strength, but it's not going to gain too much strength as it moves into those cooler Gulf waters. And this high pressure system is really going to act as a blocking high. So it's going to push all this rain down south. So a lot of heavy rain down south, a part of this low pressure system. Could see some sprinkles as we head into Sunday night and parts of Monday morning. So Saturday and Sunday going to be very nice days for your weekend. Look at that, 60s both days of the week. It's going to be perfect for your Saturday and Sunday to get out and about before we start to warm up even more as we head into next week. Going to be pretty mild as we head into parts of next week, seeing 70s across the board.
Coming up with sports, WUFT's Alyssa Britton-Harr highlighted the gymnastics Link to Pink meet last week. For Gator Skylar Drazer, the Link to Pink event in support of breast cancer awareness has a closer meaning. Alyssa has more details after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The weekend is just around the corner, but before we get there, let's dive into some sports. I'm Jordyn Banks, here to give you your sports rundown. The Gators men's basketball team is nearing the end of their regular season, and Coach Todd Golden recently held a press conference discussing how the team is almost back to full health.
Alex is doing great, to be honest. He's moving around really, really well. Tomorrow night's not out of the question. I think it's probably more of a longer shot, but it's definitely not out of the question. So we'll see how he does at practice today.
In other news, Todd Golden is on the watch list for Nae Smith for Coach of the Year award. Golden has led the Gators to a current 23-3 record and ranked number 2 in the AP poll, and highly favored in future matchups of the regular season. The Gators play LSU in Baton Rouge tomorrow at 6 p.m. The Gators gymnastics continues to steal our hearts on the floor, but this time in pink. The gymnastics team held their annual Link to Pink event. And as WFT's Alyssa Britton-Harr finds out, the meaning behind the meet is bigger than any 10 for one Gator.
The Gators celebrated their 19th annual Link to Pink meet on Valentine's Day in support for breast cancer survivors. In the stands, women stood proudly as fans cheered, but little did they know one gymnast had a different outlook.
Balancing on the beam has been Skylar's dream since she was 3. Watching her in the stands is Patricia Drazer, her grandmother, the one she thinks about when she flips in pink. You see, 35 years ago, Patricia was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I'm so glad to be here.
She is a brave survivor, a loving grandmother, and a proud Gator fan. Gymnastics head coach Jenny Rowland invited her out.
When Jenny came through the line, she said to me, "I'm so glad you came."
Patricia has been Skylar's biggest fan since she began twirling and tumbling as a toddler.
3 years of age, so I know her from the very beginning.
They're from Long Island, New York. Skylar grew up 5 minutes from her grandmother. They would have sleepovers and make Eggo waffles in the morning.
This meet means so much to me, especially having my grandma in the stands. To be able to just look up and see her watching me with a bright smile was something that I'll never forget.
Patricia was honored during the annual Link to Pink meet in what marked her first time watching her granddaughter defy gravity.
So amazing to be in the moment.
A perfect pink moment she hopes she'll never forget.
This won't be the last time we see Grandma. Patricia is making plans to come to Texas for the NCAA Gymnastics Championships. In the studio, Alyssa Britton-Harr, WUFT Sports.
The number 5 Gators traveled to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the number 1 Sooners. This matchup is the nation top gymnastics dual meet of the weekend. The meet airs on ESPN2 and starts at 9 p.m. Things are looking up for the Gators women's basketball team. They're carrying their momentum after a thrilling buzzer-beater victory last weekend. Florida dominated Texas A&M in last night's matchup, securing a decisive 74-52 win. The road win was also the Gators' 6th SEC victory to put the Gators at a 6-8 in the conference play. Florida's 74 points were spread across 9 players, and Liv McGill led all in scoring with 18 points. The Gators will be back in the O-Dome Sunday against number 15, Tennessee. Florida is slated to tip off against the Lady Vols at 1 p.m. Heading to the Diamond, Gators baseball is gearing up for their 3-game series matchup this weekend against University of Dayton. The number 10 Gators currently have a 4-0 record. Heading into the weekend against Dayton for tonight's game, sophomore Liam Peterson will be first to pitch. Game time is at 6:30 p.m. in Cauldron Ballpark. And finally, Florida's swim and dives team totaled 5 medals and 1 school record to cap off the SEC championship. Both programs sit second in the team standing. And Connor Giesing is the first Gator in 22 years to win gold in 1-meter dive.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty chilly evening if you're going to that baseball game tonight, with temperatures going to be down in the upper 30s. As we head into the rest of the week, though, we're going to gradually start to warm up, reaching some of the 70s as we head into the weekend and into parts of next week.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here Monday for another edition of First at 5.
For your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.